Welcome to our Release 18.7 webinar. In this webinar, we will be providing 3 demonstrations. The first demonstration covers our Mobizio Push API for offered service duties or visits on People Planner and Care Blocks. We'll be looking at the Allow Ignore Actuals configured against Mobizio and CM2000 settings on People Planner and Care Blocks. We will then go into the timeline area to discuss changes made to the employee not required functionality which can be set against your service duties. And now for a brief outline of the features in our 2018.7 release. A new notification feature has been added to People Planner in order to notify a Mobizio user of an offered duty within the Mobizio app. This will help make the process of offering out unallocated duties more streamlined and ensure that employees have the opportunity to accept duties quickly and easily rather than having to log onto the employee portal to see what offered duties are available to work. It is now possible to use both CM2000 and Mobizio to send duty information to People Planner. However, this can result in conflict when sending actual duty time value back to People Planner, within times getting overridden if actuals are sent from both applications at different times. Therefore, a new checkbox has been added to both the CM2000 and Mobizio configurations to allow the option to ignore actual values coming from either product. Within the new timeline planning screen, there is an info section which contains a grid that details the number of unallocated, allocated, and if enabled, unconfirmed duties in the current selected week. The unallocated column currently includes duties which have a service type assigned that has the employee not required option enabled. The info side panel has now been updated to not show duties which are flagged as employee not required as unallocated. These visits will now appear under the allocated column instead. And now, for our first demonstration on the Mobizio API for offered duties. In order to allow notifications to be pushed to the Mobizio app when a shift has been offered within People Planner or Care Blocks, you will need to ensure that this has been configured in the Settings area. In Settings, we'll come to Other, Portal Settings, Employee. Selecting the portal, we will need to ensure that the Send Notification to Mobizio on Offer has been ticked and then saved. To allow this functionality to work, we will need to configure our Mobizio details on the Mobizio API field. In the Settings area, we'll come to Monitoring, Mobizio, and Settings. Using the arrow against the relevant Mobizio setting, we'll come to API Details. In this area, you want to enter your unique Mobizio URL, you'll enter your tenant administrator username, and save. Once you've saved this information, you can run a test to ensure that the settings are configured correctly. The first step to do this will be to click on the Update Password field, enter your password, and save. You then click on Test Settings. If you have entered the details correctly, a message will appear letting you know that the settings have been authenticated successfully. To offer a shift in the new Timeline Planning screen, you can click on the Home tab, come to Planning, Visit, and Planning. In Planning, we will select the shift we would like to offer to the employee and select the Can Offer option. If the system is unable to offer this shift to the employee, a warning message will display. If the shift has been successfully offered to the employee, the Mobizio app will display this. And now for a second demonstration of the Ignore Actual Times in your Mobizio and CM2000 settings. In the Settings area, pointing our mouse to the Monitoring tab, you would have now noticed that the Mobizio settings have been split off into its own separate area from the CM2000 area. Coming into Mobizio and Settings, we're going to select the relevant Mobizio settings, click on Visit Details. We can choose to ignore actual times if we would like to stop the booking on and booking off time from coming back from Mobizio into People Planner and Care Blocks. Once you've ticked the area, you'll click Save. We can also set the option to stop the actuals coming from CM2000 into People Planner and Care Blocks. Under the Settings area, we'll come to Monitoring, CM2000, and Settings. Selecting the relevant setting, we're going to come to Visit Details and tick Ignore Actual Times and Save. To reiterate, when the Ignore Actual Times is ticked against either your CM2000 settings or your Mobizio settings, That will stop the actuals from coming back from the relevant software into People Planner or Care Blocks. In our previous release, we've added features to allow shifts that do not require an employee to be rostered and appear on invoices. These shifts do not need to be allocated to an employee in order to appear in reconciliation. To utilize this feature, you'll need to come to the Settings area, come to Service User, Service, and Types. Selecting the correct service type or shift type, you use the arrow and tick Employee Not Required and save. As these shifts do not require an employee in the rostering areas, these shifts were appearing under the unallocated column. As of the 18.7 release, we've now ensured that within planning, shifts that have been marked with Employee Not Required will now appear under the allocated column, especially as an employee is not required to be allocated to the shift at any stage. In the Info panel, shifts that have Employee Not Required will now appear under the allocated column rather than the unallocated column. You would have also noticed that shifts that are marked as Employee Not Required will display this message and also show in our green allocated colors. Thank you for watching.